Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Renewable Energy Study Group. In today's lecture, we're going to be talk about the rainwater harvesting. Basically, the rainwater harvesting is very important phenomenon when we talk about to harvest the rainwater and conserve the water for the special purpose. So in the today's session, we'll introduce about the what exactly the rainwater harvesting it is and how exactly this particular rainwater harvesting will going to be work out. So basically, when we talk about any rainwater harvesting system, so it is nothing but how exactly the overall component of the system has been designed and how we can able to conserve the rainwater at a specific duration and also at a specific tank over here. So when we talk about the rainwater harvesting, it is a very simple process or the technology used to conserve the rainwater by collecting and storing and conveying and purifying this particular rainwater. Some of our rainwatering harvesting systems has been used to store the water and further that we can utilize for drinking purpose. Some of our rainwater harvesting are used for recharging purpose also, and some other kind of the work also we can do by this kind of the system. So the runoff parameter is very important when we talk about the concept of rainwater harvesting. From exactly when we are getting this particular water, whether it is from the rooftop area, rather it is from we are getting from the park, roads, open ground or etc. And for the later use that purpose we can say. So how exactly the rainwater is falling on the rooftop area and how we are designing this particular parameter from where to where that particular sprocket will go into design, piping system will go into be designed, the filter that will be required that has to be designed. So this very important parameter comes into the mind whenever at the large scale level we are designing the rainwater harvesting system, where actually the rainfall on the ground surface has been used to recharge the ground itself. So that also a fundamental concept that has been introduced in most of the countries when the rainwater harvesting comes in mind. Whenever we talk about the overall working of the system, let's say for this particular rainwater harvesting system, which is called as a rooftop rainwater harvesting system. So here, whatever the rainfall precipitations are falling in the rainy season of that particular house, and this is our catchment area basically. Because whatever the area that we are considering to store this particular water, or rather collect this particular water, that is called as a catchment area of that particular system. Thereafter, we are utilizing this drain line, or rather we can say the gutter system also, where all this water has been falling on this drain line, and further the flow has been channeled to the sprocket or the runoff pipe, and thereafter it is been given to the storage tank. Some of a storage tank has been developed or designed underground also. Some of a storage tank on the over surface also we can design based upon the system over here. But while we are giving this water to this storage tank, we require to use the filter in a system. The role of the filter is to remove the excess contaminants from the system and give the proper amount of the water before any kind of the contaminant could be included in that particular water. And that is why the quite pure form of the water that we are getting. But further also we have to purify this water if we want to go for the drinking purpose, or if you are using this water for the gardening purpose or any other washing purpose also. So we don't require any RO system to be designed in this particular rainwater harvesting system then. Whenever we talk about the purpose of rainwater harvesting, there are multiple purposes are there for which the nowadays many countries are shifting towards the rainwater harvesting system. Like to serve the domestic utilizes, that is a usage like drinking purpose, water gardening purpose, there we can utilize. To act as an unfiltered landscape irrigation, particularly for the dryland farming, in most of the developing countries, we can go for landscape irrigation also. Because whenever the rainfall is falling in the rainy season, we can store that water into check dam, rather we can form the bunds or the trenches, and then we are utilizing this water for the irrigation purpose. Further, when we say to boost the groundwater recharge, which boosts soil fertility and even further. Because in most of the developing countries and the developed countries also, whenever we want to get the water from the borewell, so in that case, the particular ground surface must be recharged in the suitable scale also. And that is why most of the countries are giving this importance to the recharge system for this groundwater filtration. Whenever we talk about to reduce the storm water discharge, urban floods, overflooding or overloading of the sewage treatment plants, save the fresh surface free of the fertilizer, pesticides, metals and other kind of the sediments. In most of the cases, we find there is a urban floods are there because of the heavy rainfall is happening in that particular situation, or any storm water discharge will be there. So in that case, actually for overloading of the sewage also, whatever the excess water will be there, that we can able to recharge in the ground itself. So proper amount of the design will be required whenever we are going for the rainwater harvesting system. Similarly, to reduce the seawater ingress in the coastal areas also, we can go for the rainwater harvesting system. This is a multiple purpose applications are there when we can utilize the rainwater harvesting system in the particular conservation purposes. Whenever we talk about the benefits of the rainwater harvesting, there is a multiple benefits are there when we say, like decrease our bills, like the water bill we can reduce, or we can say the piping or pumping bill also we can able to reduce, electricity bill also we can able to reduce, and specifically for the water bills in the urban areas we can reduce. Thereafter, we can conserve the water, because water conservation is nowadays a crucial concept in the climate change. So we require to conserve the water as good as it is been possible. Lower demand on the fresh water resources, as we know that in most of the developed and developing countries are rely on the river water, lake water, or any water dam it has been constructed to store that particular water, and then they are utilizing it for the drinking purpose or any special purpose we can say. So in most of the, specifically in the summer season, when we say the situation, there is a heavy load is applying on that particular dam or lakes which is been available, and that is why the quantity of the water is also getting degraded by day, and that is why to lower that particular demand in the specific duration, just like in summer season, we can go for rainwater harvesting. Similarly, to reduce the flooding in that particular area, also the soil erosion in the dry environment, that also we can able to reduce by applying the rainwater harvesting system on that particular or specific area. Whenever we talk about the overall water cycle, how exactly this fundamental concept is exactly working, because as we know that we are getting this water from the precipitation which has been falling, because as we know that whatever the evaporation is happening from the sea water, it is once again we are getting on the ground surface. Some of the water it is falling on the overall ground, some of water or some of the content of the water it is been stored in the ice format in the glaciers. So from there also we are getting this particular runoff of the water. So this is the major sources of the water which has been falling, and there we can think of for the conservation. And thereafter, whatever this water is been getting, it is been stored in the river also, it is stored in the dam also, or in the lakes also we can say. And because of the sun's heat radiation, some of the water is getting evaporated, some of the water is getting stored in the transpiration process, some of the water is been available in the underground situation also. And this is the overall scenario of the water level we can say. And this cycle will go on, this is called as a water cycle in the system. Whenever we talk about the overall total water which has been available on the earth and how we can utilize effectively which is the water which has been available. So when we say there is a total 3% of the water which has been available, that is a fresh water we can say. For that, we can utilize this water for drinking purpose, washing purpose, or any other purposes that human being requires the water for the system. Similarly, 97% of the water will be available in the ocean, which is a saline water we can say. This water we cannot utilize directly into the industrial purpose also or residential purpose also. So as we know that there is a very less amount of the water which has been available as in fresh water. So the conservation of the water phenomenon is very much important when we talk about the rainwater harvesting system. Whenever we talk about the overall scenario, how exactly the fresh water is been available on the ground surface comparing to the ocean over here. So whenever we see the overall fundamental concept, like 77% of the water, it has been stored in the glaciers and the ice cap. As we say in the North Pole or the South Pole of an Earth, Himalayas or any other mountains which has been available. So there actually most of the water has been stored in the form of an ice. Similarly, the 11% of the water is the groundwater, which has been available up to the 800 meter, and 11% of the groundwater which has been available below the 800 meter. So this kind of the water we are accessing easily, and accessing this much amount of the water actually, which is a groundwater below 800 meter, that is quite difficult for most of the purposes. 1% of the water is been available in the lakes, river, and the stream. That water actually we are utilizing for the drinking purpose or any other purposes for the human being. And that is why it is very necessary to conserve the water, and that is why to implement the rainwater harvesting system. We are from the Renewable Energy Study Group. So we have this website www.renewableenergystudygroup.in. So here you will find the various amount of the courses based upon the solar energy, wind energy, biomass, rainwater harvesting system, waste management, carbon footprint, a multiple variety of the courses you can take from our website. You can learn from these courses and you can elevate your knowledge or endeavor in this particular field. Thank you.